Have you ever felt like life was moving too fast, yet you were standing still? Like no matter how hard you tried, you couldn't quite find your place in the world? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Many of us spend years searching for meaning, only to realize that our true journey begins much later in life. Today, I want to talk about something that might just change the way you see your life. It's about why 40 is not the end, but the beginning of something extraordinary. This isn't just about age. It's about awakening, purpose, and stepping into the person you were always meant to be. Let me share something personal with you. When I was younger, I felt like I was constantly chasing something: success, approval, a sense of belonging. But no matter how much I achieved, there was always this lingering feeling that something was missing. It wasn't until I reached 40 that I began to understand why. You see, life has a way of preparing us for our greatest moments. The struggles, the setbacks, the moments of doubt, they weren't random. They were shaping me, refining me, and leading me to a place of clarity and purpose. And that's what I want to share with you today. In this video, we're going to explore 7 powerful reasons why the life of a chosen one truly begins at 40. Whether you're approaching this age, already there, or just curious about what lies ahead, this message is for you. By the end, you'll see why this season of life is not something to fear, but something to embrace with hope and excitement. If you're new here, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to support this message. Your support helps us grow and share more content like this. Now, let's get started on this journey together. Let's talk about something that many of us struggle with, but is absolutely transformative when we finally embrace it: letting go. In your 20s and 30s, life can feel like a constant tug of war, holding on to relationships, jobs, and even beliefs that no longer serve you. But by the time you reach 40, something profound happens. You begin to realize that letting go isn't about losing something. It's about gaining freedom. Think about it. How many times have you held on to a toxic relationship because you were afraid of being alone? Or stayed in a job that drained you because you feared the uncertainty of change? Maybe you've clung to outdated beliefs about who you should be or what you should achieve, even when they no longer align with your true self. Letting go is an act of faith. It's trusting that when you release what no longer serves you, you create space for something greater to enter your life. It's not easy. It requires courage and a deep sense of trust in God's plan. But when you do it, you experience a freedom that's hard to put into words. I remember a time in my life when I held on to a friendship that had become toxic. I kept making excuses for the person's behavior, thinking that if I just tried harder, things would get better. But deep down, I knew it was time to let go. When I finally did, it was like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I felt lighter, freer, and more at peace. And you know what? That space I created allowed new, healthier relationships to come into my life. This is what happens when you master the art of letting go. You stop carrying the weight of past hurts, toxic connections, and outdated expectations. You start living in alignment with your true self and your divine purpose. As it says in Philippians 3 verses 13 to 14, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me. Letting go isn't about erasing the past. It's about refusing to let it define your future. By 40, You've likely faced enough challenges to understand that holding on to what no longer serves you only keeps you stuck. You've learned that true peace comes from releasing the old to make room for the new. And that, my friend, is where your journey truly begins. Now, let's talk about something that often weighs heavily on our minds: time. For most of your life, you've probably felt the pressure of time, like there's an invisible clock ticking away, reminding you of all the things you should have achieved by now. Society tells us there's a timeline for success. Graduate by this age, get married by that age, climb the career ladder by another age. But here's the truth: time is not your enemy. By 40, you start to see it in a completely different light. In your younger years, you might have felt rushed, like you were constantly trying to catch up or prove yourself. Maybe you compared your journey to others, wondering why they seemed to have it all together while you were still figuring things out. But by 40, something shifts. You begin to realize that time isn't something to be chased or feared. It's something to be trusted. This is where divine timing comes in. You start to understand that everything in your life is unfolding exactly as it should. The delays, the detours, the moments when it felt like nothing was happening, they weren't mistakes. They were part of a bigger plan. I'll never forget a season in my life when I felt like I was falling behind. Everyone around me seemed to be achieving milestones, getting promotions, buying homes, starting families, while I was still trying to figure out my path. I felt so much pressure to catch up that I almost made decisions that weren't right for me. But looking back now, I see that those delays were a blessing. They gave me time to grow, to learn, and to become the person I needed to be for the life I have now. By 40, you stop living by society's timeline and start trusting your own. You no longer feel the need to rush into things out of fear of missing out. Instead, you move with intention, knowing that what's meant for you will come at the perfect time. This shift in perspective brings a deep sense of peace. You stop worrying about the past or stressing about the future. You learn to live fully in the present, appreciating where you are right now. As Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 says, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. When you stop letting time control you, you start living with a sense of freedom and purpose. You realize that life isn't a race, it's a journey, and every step, no matter how small, is leading you closer to your divine destiny. Let's talk about something that many of us spend years searching for: purpose. In your younger years, you might have felt lost, trying different paths, experimenting with careers, and seeking validation in external achievements. You may have wondered, why am I here? What is my calling? But by 40, something incredible happens. The pieces of the puzzle start to come together, and you begin to see that every struggle, every failure, and every victory was preparing you for this moment. Your purpose isn't just about what you do. It's about who you are. It's about the unique gifts, talents, and experiences that make you you. And by 40, you've likely gone through enough to understand that your past wasn't a series of random events. It was a divine curriculum, designed to shape you into the person you were always meant to be. I want to share a story about someone I know. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah spent most of her 20s and 30s working in a corporate job that paid well but left her feeling empty. She tried to convince herself that success was about climbing the ladder, but deep down, she knew something was missing. At 40, She took a leap of faith and left her job to pursue her passion for helping others. She started a nonprofit that supports single mothers, something she had always felt called to do but never had the courage to pursue. Looking back, Sarah realized that every challenge she faced, her own experiences as a single mom, the struggles she overcame, and even the corporate skills she gained, were all part of her preparation. Her purpose wasn't just about helping others. It was about using her story to inspire and empower. This is what happens when you reach 40. You start to see your life as a masterpiece, woven together with moments of joy, pain, triumph, and failure. Each experience has a purpose, and together, they create a beautiful narrative. As Jeremiah 29 verse 11 reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Your purpose is not an accident. It's a divine assignment, and every experience you've had has been preparing you for it. So, if you're still searching for your purpose, take a moment to reflect on your journey. Look back at the challenges you've overcome, the skills you've developed, and the passions that light you up. Your purpose isn't something you need to find. It's something you need to uncover. And by 40, you're more equipped than ever to step into it with confidence and clarity. Let's talk about something that can hold us back for years if we let it: the need for validation. In your younger years, you might have found yourself constantly seeking approval from family, friends, colleagues, or even strangers. You may have shaped your decisions, your appearance, or even your beliefs based on what others thought of you. But by 40, something shifts. You begin to realize that the only validation that truly matters is the one that comes from within. This is where freedom begins. When you stop seeking approval from others, you start living authentically. You no longer feel the need to explain your choices, defend your beliefs, or prove your worth. You simply are. And that, my friend, is one of the most liberating feelings in the world. I remember a time when I used to obsess over what people thought of me. I'd change my opinions, my style, even my goals just to fit in or avoid criticism. But over time, I realized that no matter what I did, I couldn't please everyone. And more importantly, I didn't need to. You are enough, just as you are. You don't need anyone else's approval to live a meaningful, fulfilling life. When you embrace this truth, you stop living for others and start living for yourself. So, how do you break free from the need for validation? Start by practicing self-acceptance. Remind yourself daily that your worth isn't determined by others' opinions. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, not those who constantly criticize or undermine you. And most importantly, spend time in prayer or meditation, connecting with God and affirming your identity in Him. As Galatians 1 verse 10 says, "If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ." When you stop seeking validation from the world, you open yourself up to a deeper connection with God and a truer version of yourself. By 40, you've likely faced enough criticism, rejection, and judgment to realize that other people's opinions don't define you. You've learned to stand firm in who you are, confident in your journey, and unapologetically true to yourself. And that, my friend, is where true freedom begins. Now, let's talk about something that becomes profoundly clear by the time you reach 40, your spiritual awakening. In your earlier years, You might have felt disconnected or unsure about your faith. Life's distractions, career, relationships, societal expectations often pull us away from our spiritual center. But by 40, something shifts. You begin to feel a deeper connection to God, a stronger sense of intuition, and a clearer understanding of your place in the universe. This isn't just about religion, it's about relationship. It's about cultivating a closeness with God that goes beyond rituals or routines. You start to see the world through a spiritual lens, recognizing that every experience, every challenge, and every blessing is part of a divine plan. I remember a time when I felt spiritually stagnant. I was going through the motions, praying, attending services, but I didn't feel truly connected. It wasn't until I faced a major life crisis that I realized I needed to deepen my spiritual practices. I started spending more time in prayer, not just asking for things, but truly listening. I began meditating on Scripture, allowing God's Word to speak to my heart. And over time, I noticed a profound change. My intuition became sharper, my faith grew stronger, and I felt a sense of peace that I had never known before. This is what happens when your spiritual awakening deepens. You start to trust the wisdom that comes from within. You no longer rely solely on external validation or advice. Instead, you turn inward, trusting that God is guiding you every step of the way. If you're looking to deepen your own spiritual journey, here are a few practical steps. 1. Set aside quiet time daily. Whether it's through prayer, meditation, or simply sitting in silence, create space to connect with God. 2. Reflect on Scripture. Choose a verse or passage that speaks to you and meditate on its meaning in your life. 3. Practice gratitude. Take time each day to thank God for the blessings in your life, no matter how small. 4. Listen to your intuition. Pay attention to those quiet nudges or feelings that guide your decisions. As James 4 verse 8 says, "Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you." When you make the effort to deepen your spiritual practices, you open yourself up to a richer, more fulfilling relationship with God. By 40, you've likely experienced enough to understand that life isn't just about the material world. It's about the spiritual journey, the growth, the lessons, and the connection to something greater than yourself. And when you embrace this truth, you step into a life of deeper meaning, purpose, and peace. Let's talk about something that becomes profoundly significant by the time you reach 40, your energy. In your younger years, you might have found yourself stretched thin, saying yes to everything, striving to please everyone, and pouring your energy into things that didn't truly align with your purpose. But by 40, you begin to realize that your energy is a valuable resource. It's not something to be squandered. It's something to be guarded and directed toward what truly matters. This is where clarity comes in. You start to see that not every opportunity, relationship, or task deserves your attention. You learn to discern what aligns with your values and let go of what doesn't. This isn't about being selfish. It's about being intentional with the life you've been given. Your energy reflects your priorities. When you channel it toward what truly matters, you create a life that feels meaningful and aligned. So, how can you protect and direct your energy effectively? 1. Establish clear boundaries. Learn to say no to things that drain you or don't align with your goals. This isn't about being unkind. It's about honoring your time and energy. 2. define your priorities. Take time to reflect on what truly matters to you, your faith, your family, your passions, and allocate your energy accordingly. 3. Minimize distractions. Whether it's social media, toxic relationships, or unnecessary commitments, remove anything that pulls you away from your focus. 4. Replenish regularly. Make time for rest, prayer, and activities that restore your spirit and renew your strength. As Proverbs 4 verse 23 reminds us, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. When you protect your energy, you safeguard your peace, your purpose, and your ability to live fully. By 40, you've likely experienced enough to understand that not everything deserves your attention. You've learned to focus on what truly matters and release what doesn't. And when you do this, you create a life that feels intentional, fulfilling, and aligned with your divine calling. So, I want to ask you, how are you using your energy? Are you investing it in things that truly matter, or are you allowing it to be drained by distractions? Take a moment to reflect on this, and make a commitment to protect and focus your energy moving forward. Finally, let's talk about something that becomes crystal clear by the time you reach 40, living for yourself. For decades, you might have lived under the weight of expectations, whether from family, society, or even your own self-imposed standards. You may have put others' needs before your own, suppressed your dreams, or tried to fit into molds that were never meant for you. But by 40, something shifts. You realize that life is too precious to be spent pleasing others at the cost of your own happiness. This is where freedom truly begins. You give yourself permission to pursue your passions, embrace your unique path, and live unapologetically in alignment with your soul's calling. You stop measuring success by external standards and start defining it on your own terms. I want to share a story about someone I know. Let's call him David. David spent most of his life working in a corporate job that paid well but left him feeling empty. He had always dreamed of becoming an artist, but he pushed that dream aside because it didn't seem practical. At 40, he finally decided to take a leap of faith. He started painting again, and within a few years, he was hosting his own art exhibitions. Today, he's living a life that feels authentic and fulfilling, and he often says, "I wish I had started sooner, but I'm grateful I started at all." This is what happens when you start living for yourself. You stop waiting for the right time or the perfect conditions. You realize that the right time is now, and the perfect conditions are the ones you create. Living authentically doesn't mean abandoning your responsibilities or neglecting others. It means honoring your needs, your dreams, and your truth just as much as you honor the needs of others. It means setting boundaries, pursuing your passions, and embracing the unique person God created you to be. As Psalm 139 verse 14 reminds us, "You are fearfully and wonderfully made." You weren't created to live someone else's life or meet someone else's expectations. You were created to live your life, fully, boldly, and authentically. By 40, you've likely faced enough challenges to understand that life is too short to live for others. You've learned to stand firm in who you are, confident in your journey, and unapologetically true to yourself. And when you do this, you step into a life of joy, purpose, and freedom. So, if you've been holding back, waiting for permission, or doubting your worth, I want to remind you, You don't need anyone's approval to live the life you were meant to live. The world needs your gifts, your voice, and your unique light. Don't dim it for anyone. This is your time to rise. This is your time to embrace your power, step into your divine calling, and live with the freedom and wisdom you've spent years cultivating. The best is yet to come. As we come to the end of this video, let's take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed. We've explored 7 powerful reasons why the life of a chosen one truly begins at 40. 1. You've mastered the art of letting go, releasing what no longer serves you to make space for what truly matters. 2. Time no longer controls you. You've learned to trust divine timing and live in the present. 3. You've discovered your true purpose, understanding that every experience has prepared you for this moment. 4. You no longer seek validation from others, embracing your authenticity and living unapologetically. 5. Your spiritual awakening has deepened, strengthening your connection to God and your inner wisdom. 6. Your energy has become more focused, allowing you to prioritize what aligns with your purpose. 7. You've finally begun to live for yourself, pursuing your passions and honoring your true calling. These reasons aren't just ideas. They're truths that can transform the way you see your life and your future. If this message has resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Take a moment to share in the comments how this video has inspired you or what part spoke to you the most. Your story could encourage someone else who's watching. If you're new here, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to support this message. By subscribing, you'll join a community of like-minded individuals who are on this journey of faith, purpose, and growth together. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Finally, I want to leave you with this. Your best days are not behind you. They are ahead of you. Whether you're approaching 40, already there, or simply seeking clarity for your journey, know that God has a plan for your life. Every trial, every triumph, and every moment of growth has been leading you to this point. Trust the process, embrace your calling, and step into the life you were meant to live. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you abundantly as you continue on this path. Until next time, stay encouraged, stay faithful, and remember, you are chosen for a purpose. Goodbye for now.